Because of Shoe by Pam Muñoz Ryan. Illustrated by Olga and Alexei Ivanov. I cannot talk, and that's not like me. I am at the beach with my family, my mom and Theo, our little poodle Lucky, and my German shepherd Shoe, who is leaping over small waves like a jackrabbit. Shoe is soaked to the bone. Suddenly she stops and turns to look back at me, tilting her head to the side. I know what she's thinking. She's thinking it's strange that I'm not talking because usually I never stop. But after what happened today, my heart is puffed up with emotion like a balloon about to burst. And I'm afraid if I say anything, I'll start to cry. See, earlier at the courthouse, everything changed. And it was all because of Shoe. Can you tell the court your name? Asked the judge. His black robe, long face, and dark, bushy eyebrows made him look like a vulture. Liliana Parker, I said from the witness stand, but everyone calls me Lily. The courtroom was filled with adults and other children who had come to court with their own petitions and waited to sit before the judge. And Lily, how old are you? 11 years old. The judge put on his glasses and peered at me. I know, I said. I look younger. I'm the shortest in my class. That's my mom over there. I pointed across the room to where Mom sat at a wooden table. She's a nurse at Memorial Hospital, and she's barely over 5 feet. My pediatrician says that when I grow up, I will only be a tiny bit taller, but I'm really hoping he's wrong. Anyway, my freckles and thin hair don't help either. Plus, I'm trying to grow out my bangs because I think that no bangs will make me look more like a 5th grader, which I am, instead of a 3rd grader, which I am not. The judge smiled. His cheeks puffed up like peaches. His eyes twinkled, and he didn't look like a vulture anymore. He looked like someone's grandpa. Well, Lily, let's move on. We're not going to be too formal here today. Can you tell us about the circumstances that brought you to my courtroom? I looked at Mom. She nodded encouragement. Mom had already coached me, but not about lying, since I wouldn't do that anyway. Instead, she had given me the talk about keeping my answers brief, which is really hard for me. I always tell way too much information. Mom said, make the long story short. And I promised I would try. I really would. But my mind had a mind of its own. Lily, said the judge. I nodded, twisting a long strand of brown hair around one finger and trying to find a beginning. It all started about a year ago with Shoe. The judge looked puzzled. A shoe? I sat a little straighter. No, not a shoe. Our dog, Shoe. We adopted her from the Coastal Humane Society. See, I had been wanting a dog for a long time, and finally Mom thought it would be a good idea. She said we should get one for protection since we were 2 girls living alone on account of my father disappearing off the face of the planet before I was born. Besides that, I was spending more time at home by myself because I didn't go to after-school care anymore. But believe me, I wasn't a latchkey kid because our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Gonzalez, was always checking on me. But Mom said that she'd feel more comfortable if there was a dog in the house. We really couldn't afford a dog from the pet shop, and even if we could pay $800, Mom wouldn't do it. She thinks everyone should adopt from animal shelters because of the current dog population, which is extremely high. She also has this thing about overbreeding. I glanced at Mom. She was gently tapping the side of her cheek with one finger. That was a signal that meant too much information. I took a deep breath, which is what I was supposed to do if she signaled me. So we went to the Humane Society, and the minute I saw Shoe, I knew that she was the dog for me. I put my face near hers, and I just asked her, do you belong to me? And I know you're not going to believe this, but she answered. Not in English, but, in the way she looked at me. Mom said that from day one, Shoe and I had this secret communication thing, so we adopted her. At first, we could not decide what to name her, but then the judge held up his hand. Lily, I need to interrupt for a moment. Does the dog's name have anything to do with why we're here today? I nodded vigorously. Oh, yes, it has everything to do with it. Some of the people in the courtroom chuckled. Mom rolled her eyes. Then you may continue, said the judge, leaning back in his chair. Okay, so we adopted her. And as soon as we brought her home, she started this thing with shoes. She would sneak into a closet. And I mean, that entire skulking thing that dogs do when they don't want to be noticed. She would pick up a shoe in her mouth and then run out of the room. And then we'd have to chase her to get it back. But a few hours later, she would do the same thing. It's not that she chewed on the shoes or wrecked them or anything. And when I asked her, why are you doing that? She pulled the shoes closer to her, closer to her chest, crossed her paws over them, and laid her head down and licked them. See, she thought they were puppies. The judge leaned forward. Puppies? A smattering of giggles traveled through the courtroom. Yes, it was the weirdest thing. She carried the shoes to her favorite places, like behind the couch or the back of a closet. Then, when she had a pile of them, she'd protect them and nose them and even talk to them. Not human talk, of course, but dog talk. You know, whining and little barks. So, Mom and I had to put all of our shoes up on the closet shelves. But then Shu sniffed the floor and whined and looked at me and Mom with the saddest eyes and said, I'm begging you, please give me some shoes. We couldn't resist. I gave her my soccer shoes that were too small, and Mom gave her a pair of high heels she never wore because she said they hurt her feet. And when did she go dancing anymore anyway? Mom cleared her throat. That was another signal. If I heard Mom clear her throat, I was supposed to pause and think about what I needed to say, not what I wanted to say. So Mom and I started calling her Shoe Mama because of her shoe puppies. But eventually we just called her Shoe. After a few months, she grew out of the whole pretending shoes were puppies thing. It was like she just woke up one day and said, oh, silly me, these are shoes, not my babies. And just like that, she wasn't interested in shoes anymore until the incident. The incident? Asked the judge, his forehead wrinkled with concern. I nodded. But that came later.